Welcome to month 5. We're still on the same day on my end. Really great. Still really cold. Still working really well. Thank you so much. So month 5, my jokes are running dry because I'm thinking about how to prepare for my exam. But okay, focus. Okay, so month 5, accountability plus plus plus. So this means that your calls being test time random numbers. Okay, so I asked one of my friends to just like for half an hour just drill me on numbers, because once you work on numbers you realize that 70 is actually 60-10, and like for 80 this is like not even coming easy to me right now, but for 80 it's 420, and then for 90 it's 420-10. So for 783 is 783. So it's what I said was 423. That's how you say that number. Not trying that again. Please don't correct me. I mean, okay. And then for your book club friend, I started asking him if he could do essay trading with me. So I used to write short stories. I wasn't really motivated, and again, the main thing is to find out like what you can do, something that you want to do, so it doesn't feel like oh, I have to do it, but just like this is what I want to do. So for me, like, okay, this is kind of where this book comes in. Not this book exactly, because I got this when I was planning to do the C1 exam, but I had one for the B2 exam, which I gave to a friend in LA before I left. She was so great. Like, she bought almost all my books. Super grateful, because nothing hurts more than just like getting rid of your books like somewhere, which I had to do. So precious books. Okay, so yeah, so this book, so they have usually like different exams, like it's the exam format, but it's not exactly the exam format. It just trains you to like try to see what you're looking for in terms of like how can you start being exact. Because before, when you were listening to podcasts, you were catching, well, I was catching, I'm not gonna speak for you, but I was just catching sentences that interest me or that I really recognized. But in the exam you have to catch everything, because you know, you don't know what the questions are going to be like. Oh, in saying that, something that's really important I felt is like they give you reading time or some time before listening and comprehension, especially listening. So I would always start with looking at what the questions are, and I know this is a really simple thing, but I didn't figure this out until, you know, closer to the test. But if you know what the questions are, you're gonna know what to listen for, and if you know what the questions are, you know what to look for in the text. Instead of doing it like in order, just do it with smarter. So also, like the book that I had before, make sure, oh, sometimes, I don't know why, but it is common that the answers are not included. Like the blue book that I showed you, the answers it's a completely different book, so you have to buy 2 books. Why? I don't know. More money, obviously. So like there's that, but also not in this book, I don't think. Yeah, not in this book exactly. But for the other book that I had, it had like questions at the end about like just multiple questions that you could talk about or write about, and I found that like really good practice. And just pick ones that you like. There's no real like, oh, challenge yourself and then pick one that you don't like, because you never know what the questions are gonna be. For me, for my exam, I just had a simple like, you're gonna write to your mayor about this problem, or wait, what was it? Oh no, you're trying to invite your boss to come to this function, and why is it important to get your boss to come to this function? And I had to say like, you know, the team is like going so well, I think da-da-da, and it's like, it's gonna be a great, like, no, it would be great, no, it would be pertinent that you're there because it shows morale and all that stuff. So, you know, there's a lot of freedom with how you want to say things as long as you know the format. But that's how I got like the ideas for questions to write and to send to my friend. And then when my friend like sent like the corrections back to me, I would rewrite the entire essay. As I said, like, it's not easy, but when you do that, you relearn exactly where your mistakes are. So the next one is les tests blancs. So that's the mock exams. You go onto the Delf website and you basically, they'll give you the the past exam papers for the past 4 years. I think that's, yeah. So I had 4, so I'm pretty sure it's the past 4 years, or maybe it's the same year, but then the ones like, because I told you like they don't have it very often, the exams, it's just kind of like I think seasonal. So for the mock exams, I did 1 a week in month 5, just so that like I get used to it. I timed myself, I try to give myself the same conditions and stuff. Obviously not the speaking, that's like after, but do not be discouraged. Or at least it took me a while to not be discouraged by my first test. I did so terribly. I failed like 2 parts of it. I think it was like listening, and my results aren't that bad. But like I failed like 2 parts of it, and I was like, oh no, oh my god, I spent 4 months on this. Now I'm gonna fail. But my friends are extremely like positive and helpful, and they were just like, just keep going. This is why you make friends and not just random conversations on Hello Talk. And yeah, don't be discouraged, just keep doing once a week, keep doing all the other things that you've been doing. And for the practice test, oh yeah, for the practice test, you know, use your version, B2 version of like how to pass the exam for the listening and reading, just like comprehensions. And I was doing like, I think listening I was doing a bunch because they were like really short, and I think, you know, whoever, because I was the first one that I believe in the Culver City to use the new format, which is multiple choice. Before you had to write short form answer questions. So I think from now on, definitely check, but from now on it's just multiple choice. So if that's the case, like just practice your listening, because you don't even have to write the answers anymore, you just do them. And then reading, same thing. It doesn't have to be timed. The only one I would time is this blanc. The last thing is a personal class. Okay, so yeah, the personal class with the tutor that you have, this is where you practice your speaking session. This is where you would figure out like, you know, how to do the introduction. So my tutor, she was like, you know, she's like, welcome, and then like she timed the whole session. She's super professional, like super dedicated. She's great. So she was like, you know, bonjour, and like present yourself and all that stuff, because it all counts, because it's not just the presenting of the information, but you're also speaking to people. So learning how to be formal, using the vous form, being concise, being present, like you're really practicing your listening. I messed up a question that she gave me, but she was still really patient and smiling, and at the end I'm like, I totally misunderstood the question. She's like, no, it's fine, like the main point is that you understood, but you know, it's clear that like I was too anxious, because I think it was like our second time doing it, and also I was very aware of how to speak on a different angle of the topic compared to like what the question was actually asking me. So formal, timed, and again, use past topics. My tutor, again, she was really great. She always prepared questions. She had things already. But like, you know, if your tutor doesn't have that, again, if you get one of these books, just make sure that they have the 4 different sections, and then just offer it to them, and then maybe offer them 3, and then they can pick one for you, or you can pick one, because during the exam you pick one, but you want to feel challenged, do it the other way. So yeah, that is month 5.